So I'm going back on Thursday to the physio again. I've been going once a month for ever since July last year, just about. But I wake up in the morning as stiff as a badger. I can hardly move it. I've got to push it and wangle it around and everything to get it going again. No.
Wow. And doesn't the full motion help you? I thought you took full motion.
I take full motion for everything, but unfortunately, an injury like this is going to take a long time to correct itself, if it does correct itself.
What about a breast, Barry?
I don't know. I'm going to see about it. When I saw the doctor a little while ago, he said if after all this physio doesn't come right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday evening. I'm just going to mute everybody in the background over here and then share my screen and get going. Okay. Last week, we were talking about the eye, or the eyes, and the forehead. So this week, but there was quite a lot of information over there to go through. So this week, I'm going to go through the next part of the same thing, still with the eyes and the forehead, but part 2. And I find it fascinating because I think at the moment, most of us are just seeing eyes and forehead of most people because everybody's covered up with a mask. So it's probably a good idea to learn to read the signs of the eyes and the forehead, because those are the bits that you're going to be seeing most of. So let me share my screen over here. And hopefully my editing is a little bit better this week than it was last week. My apologies on that one. All right, so we're still going through your body's sign language. And this time we're going to start with the problem that I have, and that is being nearsighted. I can see very, very small things. I can see things up close, but looking over there in the distance, things start to get a little bit hazy. And I know some people, as they get older, end up with rather short arms, and then they sort of got to stretch out because they can't see the writing. But I have the opposite problem to that. Nearsightedness has been associated with a low protein and high sugar and refined carb diet. And looking at this, thinking back, I probably had the high sugar and fairly refined carb diet growing up. Low protein, we definitely had enough protein growing up, but I do believe that there were other issues that came along. Fortunately, I'm not quite as bad as my middle sister as far as eyesight is concerned, but it is a problem. Myopia is linked to an increased risk for diabetes and tooth decay. And quite probably that is as a result of all the sugar in the diet. Because as we said, myopia is caused by low protein and high sugar. So you can deduce from there that with excess sugar, diabetes and tooth decay will be a problem. Consumption of sugar with protein is protective, possibly because it reduces insulin production and blood sugar swings. So once again, if you think about the Neolife shake, it's very sweet with natural sugars and complex carbohydrates, but that helps to also reduce the insulin and maintain your blood sugar levels. Long-term consumption of sugar, and we're talking especially young people, and quite often with today's diets, kids are exposed to excessive amounts of sugar from a fairly young age. And this predisposes them to nearsightedness and dental decay. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that with an increase in screen time, specifically with smartphones and possibly tablets and laptops, If I think about our school, for instance, our school is essentially doing a homeschool syllabus, and they have gone completely online. So while they go to a building and have school, the school teaching is actually all done on computers and online. And I would be interested to see how that's going to affect their eyesight later on. Sugar does most of its damage to the eyes during the rapid growth periods. This is why children are more susceptible to it. And this can also damage the retina and cause alterations in near and far vision. So the suggestions, we need to consume more protein and fiber in conjunction to sweets. Diabetics are needing in the region of about 31 to 32 grams of fiber per day. Those of us who are non-diabetic are needing in the region of about 25 to 28 grams of fiber per day. Remembering that the fiber acts as a mop as well as a broom, and it mops up the excess sugar, specifically in the eyes and the kidneys. We need to minimize or eliminate sugar and refine carbohydrates intake. So therefore, be careful with processed foods, read the labels. And a lot of the bread that we're eating these days, even the high fiber breads, are not all that they say that they are, because the ingredients can be quite deceptive. And then we need to supplement with omega-3 oils, because as we said last week, the eye is a great user of the DHA oils, which is found in omega-3. Night blindness. I don't know if any of you have a problem driving at night. And the definition of night blindness, basically, it consists of difficulty seeing at night or when moving from a well-lit to a dimly lit situation. This is associated with a vitamin A deficiency. One of the things that you can do there is go from bright sunlight into a fairly dark building and see how long it takes for your eyes to adjust. In a lot of cases, you go in and you're almost completely blind when you're coming from bright outside sunlight into a slightly darker room. And this shouldn't take more than a couple of seconds to stabilize, but some people could take a bit longer than that. Night blindness increases your danger risk when driving at night, especially when you are temporarily blinded by oncoming headlights. And you're driving along at night, everything's dark around you, you've got your headlights focusing ahead of you, and somebody comes towards you, either a truck or somebody who maybe they've started sleeping themselves and forget to dim their lights, or maybe they've lost a bit of focus, and that blinds you. That can be quite lethal. Vitamin A deficiency blocks the visual process of supplying the necessary nutrients to the rods and cones in the retina. When I was putting this together, there was quite a long, complex story about the rods and the cones, but I thought I'd leave all of that out because it tends to be a little bit higher grade. But know that with your retina, that is where all the light in the vision focuses, and it has a couple of specialized things called rods and cones, and those are controlled with the vitamin A. Some carotenoids, as we know, carotenoid complex can be converted to vitamin A. So some carotenoids can be converted to vitamin A, but not all of them. And diabetics especially seem to have a problem where they cannot convert carotenoid complex to vitamin A. So it's therefore essential that a diabetic supplements with vitamin A as well as the carotenoids, because the carotenoids have their own uses. Zinc is also essential for removing vitamin A from liver storage. As we know, too much vitamin A can be toxic. So there is a toxic limit on vitamin A, probably not quite so much from a food source, which is what we have, as it is from a synthetic source. And what happens is with the carotenoids, if you're non-diabetic, your body will convert the carotenoid to vitamin A as and when it needs it. A deficiency of zinc can impair the utilization of vitamin A, resulting in deficiency symptoms. And that means that if we don't have enough zinc in the system, it can give almost a false reading that you don't have enough vitamin A in your system. So one does have to be a little bit careful about that. And in order to test correctly, it is good to go and see your doctor and get blood tests done accordingly. Cod liver oil is the safest and most effective means of attaining vitamin A. So your vegans will have a big problem getting sufficient vitamin A. And quite honestly, vegans would probably have a problem taking our supplement, considering that our supplement is derived from cod liver oil. In the States, you can get a supplement that is called cod liver oil. We don't have it here, but we do have vitamin A and D, and that is simply a name variation because vitamin A and D is cod liver oil. Vitamin A is not recommended for pregnancy in doses exceeding 10,000 IUs, as an IU stands for international unit, just by the way, as it may increase the risk of birth defects. And if you look at your vitamin A bottle, it will tell you that one needs to be careful recommending to pregnancies. Big fancy term, retinitis pigmentosa is a genetic disorder that is characterized by loss of peripheral vision and poor night vision. And Dr. Arthur Knapp discovered that treating this condition with vitamin D and calcium had excellent results. And most people, if you go to your doctors, they will tell you that if you are diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, I wouldn't call it a death sentence, but it's a sentence of blindness. And unfortunately, in most cases, once you are diagnosed with this, it's a slow or sometimes a fast downhill slope where you're going to become blind. Cod liver oil is an excellent source of vitamins A and D. And remember, our calcium, our CalMag, has vitamin D in it as well. So the suggestions: beware of supplementing with excess vitamin A. Our vitamin A and D contains 4,750 IU per capsule, and Formula 4 contains 2,500 IU per capsule. So watch that when you are suggesting to people, specifically in pregnancy, because they can overdose very quickly. If you take 2 Formula 4 per day, there already is 5,000 IU. And then you still take an A and D on top of it, you're pretty close to that maximum level. Don't rely completely on carotenoid complex for all your vitamin A requirements. You need to supplement with vitamin A and D. So if you don't really have a problem, my suggestion is that maybe every 2 to 3 months, have a course of vitamin A and D as opposed to every month and every day. Use a multiple vitamin and mineral supplement with zinc, because remembering that with a multiple, you're getting all your vitamins and the minerals, and your body can pick and choose and utilize what it needs when it needs it. Eyes, as I was saying, all we're seeing these days is eyes because of a mask. Puffy, dark, inflamed, or wrinkles under the eye are generally a common allergy indicator, as well as possible kidney issues. My apologies for those who've just had supper recently, or if you're a bit squeamish. I'm going to show you some pictures coming up. Hopefully they're not too scary, but they are up close and personal for the eye. Signs include puffy or swollen tissue beneath the eyes. Fancy term for that is periorbital edema. Medical people like big words. It sounds really dramatic, but it's not really. And there is a classic case of your periorbital edema, which periorbital meaning around the eye and edema meaning swelling. Wrinkles or folds on the lids below the eyes is known as Denier's sign, and it looks like that. Dark circles under the eye are otherwise known as allergic shyness. And I saw a classic example of that yesterday. We were visiting my sister-in-law, and her children both have major allergies. And the youngest one had the classic dark circles under her eyes. I was quite interested. And that is more or less what they look like. Some of them can be darker than that. Some of them can be lighter. Inflammation of the eyelids, another big fancy term, is called blepharitis. And it looks something like that. So it would be a very swollen eyelid above the eyelashes, and sometimes with little bits of almost like gunk coming out of the eyelids. Can be quite messy. The skin under the eyes tend to be rather loose and becomes or forms wrinkles if the body is holding, or becomes puffy and forms wrinkles if the body is holding water. So that'll be a good indication of your hydration levels as well. Allergies can cause these signs to come and go. And often in springtime, you'll find people who are highly allergic to pollens and things will end up with problems like this. Puffy eyes, especially in children, could indicate a milk intolerance. And that's something I hadn't really realized before. Fluid retention under the eye commonly accompanies allergy or less frequently kidney damage. And see, my apologies if you're not seeing the pictures. I'm not quite sure why that is. Could just be the way that I've got this going. But it'll be in the recording. So if you see people with a lot of fluid retention under the eyes, they could just have a simple allergy problem, but it is something to be checked if you suspect kidney damage. Severe allergic response can result in water weight gain of 1 to 2.5 kilograms in a day. This weight gain can take a couple of days to disappear. That is a simple allergy. Allergic eye folds result from swelling of the tissue and folding of the eyelid. Dark circles often accompany eye folds. Checking the messages. Okay, my apologies on the pictures. It should come through on the recording. Dark circles often accompany eye folds as a result of congestion of blood flow around the eyes, because there's a lot of blood in or around the eye area, and because it's very soft tissue, it can swell up quite a bit over there as well. This can be accompanied by middle ear infection, sinus congestion, swelling, and mouth breathing, which can result in a sore throat, because all of this area is all interlinked anatomically. Dark circles can also indicate fatigue or loss of sleep. And you'll see this in young parents whose babies don't want to sleep very often. They often have the dark circles under their eyes. Inflammation of the eyelids may result from allergy, drying of tears, or bacterial infection. And if the tear ducts dry up, it's very easy to get a bacterial infection in there. So the suggestions are omega-3, amino acids, which we find in the Neolife Shake, and vitamin B12. Hot compresses applied to the eyes to melt and loosen dried oils, clogging the base of the eyelashes prevents the condition getting worse. And some people have suggested using lukewarm bags of tea on the eyes. Avoid suspect foods or inhalants and check if the eye signs disappear. Again, that allergy part. Puffy eyes could indicate the need to have your kidneys checked, as I've said, and that is best done by going to your doctor and let them do the correct tests. Use essential fatty acids from salmon oil antioxidants from flavonoid complex, because the flavonoids are your water-soluble antioxidants, and they go through the eyes, the sinuses, lungs, tear ducts, etc. And trace minerals, such as what you'd find in multi-mineral with alfalfa. Young children should be checked for milk intolerance, and this is becoming a big issue these days because of all the funny stuff that they put in milk and the pasteurization, etc. Raw milk straight from the factory is quite often high in good bacteria, and that is good for anybody to drink. Red eyes. Let me just stop this share for a second and see if I can change my adjustments so that you can get a better idea of pictures. I hope this will be okay. If not, please let me know. Where did I get to? Okay, so red eyes, it's the capillary growth in the white of the eye. So you've got your cornea and the retina in the middle, and then the white, very fancy term, is the white of the eye, commonly seen in alcoholics, sometimes accompanied by a red nose. And if anybody knows an alcoholic, you'll know exactly what I mean. And when I read this, a picture flashed into my mind. When I was growing up, I remember an elderly gentleman in our town who, I think he was in fact, he probably was a World War II veteran, and he was a classic alcoholic, very jovial gentleman, very friendly, but I will always remember his swollen red nose with, like some of the pictures you'll see shortly, and the red eyes. This sign may be the result of a lack of vitamin B2 or riboflavin deficiency. Eyes can and do become red as a result of irritation or infection. I know my wife gets pink eyes, for want of any better term, when she wears contact lenses. Chronic redness with visible blood vessels in the white of the eye, on the cheeks and or on the nose can signify a shortage of vitamin B2. And that is what it looks like. I cannot see anybody's pictures on my screen anymore, so if these pictures are not coming through, please let me know on the group. And there is your classic alcoholic nose. Vitamin B2 deficiency results in bright light sensitivity, and you'll often see people going out, and it might not even be that bright, but they're screwing up their eyes against the glare. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing pictures now. Alcoholics run the risk of becoming deficient in vitamin B2, B6, and magnesium. And lack of magnesium can lead to that classic shaking problem that an alcoholic will have, called delirium tremens. If blood vessels pop in the eye, this could indicate high blood pressure or weakened blood vessel walls due to a lack of vitamin C, flavonoids, as well as other nutrients needed for healthy connective tissue. Flavonoids are very important for the eye because, as we said, flavonoids are your water-soluble antioxidants. Untreated high blood pressure can lead to consequences such as blindness or strokes. So the suggestions: by reducing refined carbohydrates and increasing protein intake, the desire for alcohol may be reduced. Jim McAfee's got a fascinating talk, which I think is available on his website, on addictions. And he covers everything from alcohol addiction through smoking, through things like chocolate, and food addictions, and even coffee, to be for want of any better term over there. People who drink a lot of coffee are actually addicted to the caffeine in there. And what's the best source of protein and carbohydrates that we know of? Our Near Life Shake. We need to supplement with vitamin B complex, which is currently out of stock again, I think, but should be coming back again shortly. Let's see the chats. Okay. Cheers, Jenny. Enjoy your other meeting. And there's the vitamin B that we're needing. And hopefully it will be back in stock soon. So sensitivity to bright light, that means bright light makes the eyes uncomfortable to the point of needing to wear sunglasses. So it's not just that screwing up of the eyes, and could be fairly, not even ultra bright light, but just fairly bright day, and you feel that you've got a problem. Light sensitivity suggests weak adrenals. The adrenal glands control the contraction of the iris when the eye is exposed to light. Another sign of weak adrenals is a white line. It's called Sargent's white adrenal line. This is something that anybody can do. You take your finger and you run it across your tummy, and instantly you'll see a thin white line followed almost immediately by a red line. Those with weak adrenals will have that white line remain for up to 2 minutes. So the suggestions there: a quality supplement of adrenal glandula, which we don't have available in this country, but you could possibly get in a health food store, may be helpful. In South Africa, in near life, our best option is Treonine, which helps to regenerate the adrenals. And we all know Treonine. We need to avoid refined carbohydrates, as we all know. We need to consume adequate protein, complex carbohydrates, fruits and veggies. And we need to supplement with quality oils, namely the Treonine, vitamin B complex, and vitamin C. While we cannot get vitamin B on its own right now, extra formula 4 should help to boost your vitamin B levels. And that's why we need vitamin B, to put a spring in our step in the morning. And the vitamin C is vital for all those other watery bots. Up and down and side to side movement is a syndrome where the eyes move side to side, up and down, or in a rotary direction. And it has a very horrible fancy term called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. And this is a vitamin B1 or thiamine deficiency, again, common in alcoholics. Alcohol depletes the body of vitamin B very, very quickly. The liver is a good source of protein and B complex vitamins. So those of you who partake in eating liver, that's why you need to be eating it. That's why we were always told to eat it when we were children. B complex vitamins are essential for healthy brain and nerve function, as well as detoxing the body. Excessive alcohol consumption leads to clogging of blood vessels all over the body, including the brain. Alcoholics generally do not have good nutrition. Alcoholics need to take a vitamin B complex. They need extra magnesium and glutamine, which we will find in the Near Life Shake. This will go a long way to helping them overcome their addiction. So if you know of somebody who's battling with alcoholism and they are desperate to actually overcome it, this is one way to help them nutritionally. Suggestions: eat sufficient protein and reduce the refined carbohydrates. So basically, work with a dietitian, change the diet completely. Supplement with quality dried liver. Again, not found in this country at the moment, except possibly in a health food store. Vitamin B complex and magnesium. And there is our brand new magnesium that we have. And I've been enjoying the results of this one. And supplement with a good quality multivitamin. So if somebody doesn't want to have the formula 4, they can certainly take the multi. Food for thought. Adrenal exhaustion seems to be epidemic in the modern world. And part of that would be because of our diet. The word stress is on the tip of everyone's tongue. Some common stressors include sugar, coffee, the nightly news, I'll go as far as saying Facebook as well, family discord, and bad nutrition. And sadly, a lot of people have this combination hitting them on a daily basis. That's no wonder they've got problems. An adrenaline rush can be an addiction to some. Ever heard of extreme sports and people who go for the adrenaline rush? And if you've ever done bungee jumping or gone ziplining, you'll understand what that adrenaline rush is like. I've done it. It's fun. And one wants to do it again. Prevention of macular degeneration and blindness by regular intake of carotenoid-rich leafy green foods and sulforaphane-rich cruciferous vegetables is a good example of a lifetime nutrition habit. And this is why it is so important to get your children, or those of us older, to get your grandchildren to enjoy these foods. And if they're not, to start to take things like the Fighter Defense from an early age, because what is your eyesight worth to you in your old age? And that completes me for tonight, and I see I have 5 minutes left. Right, if anybody wants to ask questions or make comments, please unmute yourself, because my talk is done. Hope that wasn't too high.
Thank you, Sean. That was very good.
Thank you. Right. Were the pictures not coming through at all in the beginning, or did they come through later?
And I could see all of them.
Okay, good. Hopefully it'll all come
Thank you
through
very
recorded.
much. Appreciate.
Nancy, you've gone all green and purple and all.
Yeah, I see the psychedelic. I don't know why.
Well,
I'm going all green.
yeah, life green, it's good.
That's retina.
Yeah,
Not enough.
retina, that's a retinitis pigmentosa.
I was just going to say, Anzi, it's a sign of.
Too much vitamins.
Sean, that was very
Sean, thank you
interesting.
so
Thank
much.
for your research.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah,
That's a
thank you
pleasure.
so much. It was so interesting. Really
Thank
good.
you, everybody.
Thanks.
All right, so
Paul.
that's it. Yes,
Sean,
Mm.
can I ask you about diabetics and vitamin A?
yes, go for it.
So if you take one vitamin AD a day,
Mhm.
the little pill,
Yes.
and 3 carotenoids, is that too much?
No, because as a diabetic, your body isn't able to convert the carotenoids to vitamin A. But I think if you're taking 3 Formula 4 a day with a vitamin A and D, it could be a little bit too much.
Okay, okay.
So 1 or 2 Formula 4 in conjunction with the vitamin A and D should be perfectly safe.
Thank you.
Okay, so for normal people who are not diabetic, 2 Formula 4 per day and 1 A and D while you're doing a course of ND, it's okay.
Yes, because that'll take you up to just below your maximum. But remembering
Okay.
that your vitamin A and your carotenoids are fat soluble and have a build-up effect. So specifically the vitamin A can build up in your system. So that's why I suggested sort of once every maybe 3 months, have a course of vitamin A and then stop it for a while to let your body acclimatize.
Okay,
So
but
what do you
about
mean by a
taking-
course?
So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Every
have a bottle.
day, what?
No, have a bottle, and you can have it every day for the time that the bottle is what the 100 tablets inside there, and then
Yeah.
stop for another maybe month or 2, and then start again.
But what about taking 1 every 2 days, Sean?
You can also do
Does
that.
it help?
Yes, that'll also work
That-
because your body's got to be able to metabolize it out of its system.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
Right.
good, Sean. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Okay.
tomorrow night we have Liz, who is doing a product presentation as well.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow morning is Liz. Tomorrow morning is Liz.
Oh.
Tomorrow
Tomorrow
evening
morning
is
Yeah.
supposed to be different people in the
tomorrow-
evening and Liz in the morning at 10
Oh.
o'clock.
Okay. My apologies.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
what it
if
says.
we're having one in the evening. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know if we're having one in the evening.
All right.
I think there's only the morning one.
Okay.
It's on the program, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it's on.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
gotcha.
program says evening, other people explaining different things, whatever. I think there's probably the same people that explained some tech thing of some kind before.
Mhm.
And then in the morning, there's Liz for products and
Okay.
whatever.
All right. Perfect.
Thanks, Doc.